if it was in the backyard, but Tom and Joyce would.
Right.
So I'm not particularly fond of it, and, you know, and I believe Tom Fullen and Ashley Fullen, when they look down from their driveway, because their lot sits below theirs, that they would be able to see it. And we really have to take a look at the season too. This is full leaf season, so it's very different around that neighborhood in the fall and winter.
Right,
You know, again, driving by,
right. We've done several of these.
I'm not against solar in particular. I think you can put it on your roof without even, can you put it on your roof without even,
Coming to us, you're right, yeah.
right?
So that's my next.
Just a second.
Okay, sure.
We have done several of these.
Ground mounted?
Ground mounted, as, we don't do roof mounted. But as we, all of us drive by, whether it be Dayton or Somerset or Swansea, we all see the roof mounted,
Right.
and believe me, not any of them look attractive.
Right, I agree.
They take away from everybody's property. But the ones that we have done, ground mounted, we take into account that there are seasons where there's no trees, and that's why we always go with the greenery, with the arborvitaes.
Right.
Sir, go ahead, now you can continue.
I just have one other
Oh,
comment.
go ahead.
Sorry.
That's all right, go ahead.
There was a gentleman across the street from me, down across the street. I did not know he had ground mount, Mr.
There's
Biss.
one across the street from me.
Right, so I know when he went for his, that he was told that nobody should be able to see his system at any time of year. I didn't even know it was there.
Is that the one that we approved?
It is approved, I have
He's got more
the,
land too.
And it's higher, it's not this type of system
No,
at all.
it's a higher
Topography.
correct, but where, I believe where it's
But it's-
located on his property, no
Nobody can see it.
abutters, no
Downhill.
neighbors, yes,
When you
nobody
look
can see
downhill, you're
it.
gonna
I
see
have his,
whatever's in
he had
that
given me a
front.
special permit on another project I was working on. But, so, I'm just not sure if I'm gonna see it. I have to go and
Okay.
look again, and I'd be interested to have Tom Fullen come, because I
Well,
don't
come
think
to
Tom
that-
Fullen
come to that
realized
June
it's in the
1st
front
meeting.
yard.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Well, I guess my question is, this is all about the visual aspect of the
It sounds like
panels.
it, yep,
If I were to put it on my roof, would not everyone see it?
absolutely.
Correct.
And
But we
you-
still
So-
have to
Well,
do.
no, hang on a second. So I just need to understand what the gripe is about a neighbor seeing solar panels on the floor, when I could just get it on my roof, and you're gonna see it anyway.
Correct.
So, I'm just trying to understand what the issue is.
I don't think,
Like why-
at my personal, if you're asking me, my personal, I guess, indifference with it is, I didn't buy a house in Dayton to drive by and see ground-mounted solar in people's front yard. There's a procedure, if you like to put it in, you have to come in front of the board, and there's certain requirements that you need to meet, and if everyone's agreeable with it, and if it doesn't reflect poorly or, you know, reflect poorly on the characteristics of the neighborhood,
None of us ever did.
then, you know, then so be it. If it goes on the roof, I don't think any of us can say anything, I'm
If
not.
it goes on the
It's
roof, they
even
don't come,
uglier.
But
they
that's
don't
what
come,
I'm.
they don't come
I
before
think that's a very good point. It will be even uglier. So if
They
it's
don't come
ugly
before
to
this board
begin with,
if,
if it's gonna be even uglier, I think you made a great point.
Yeah,
Let me,
but what
let's-
you need to understand is though, if we deny it, it's one on the roof. So I mean, that's,
Can we-
and they don't have to get anybody's okay for that.
I'm okay with that.
This
There's
gentleman
actually
here would
been
give it.
extensive studies on this, and I'll tell
Right.
you why.
the roof is the worst thing you can do.
Everybody expects psychologically to drive by a home and see different color houses, different kind of roofs, different windows, different front doors. So visually, the solar panel on the roof, although you may not like it, it's not as offensive. However, when you drive by a nice green lawn or landscaped yard, especially in a residential neighborhood, and you see the glass panels in the yard, psychologically, it's much more offensive. There's been studies all
Right.
across the
Gonna
country
take
on
some
this,
getting
so
used to.
it
But
does. But,
as-
and that's why most of them are by special permit.
Right, but as the, and this is gonna be the last comment about this, we're gonna wrap it up. As, the more and more studies come out that this, putting them on the roof is becoming, a problem for the roofs, you're gonna see more and more ground-mounted systems. So, we're gonna meet on June 1st at 6:30.
Can I say
Uh,
something, Ken?
Yep, go ahead, sir.
I just want you guys to know, I'm not against solar. None of this board is. All right,
we're here to see where this thing's gonna go with the abutters. All right, the abutters have a say, doesn't determine the way we work as a board. We listen to them, they have concerns, we try to make sure those concerns come into the play. The concerns that I have is the water runoff is not your problem, that's something that the town's gonna take care of, I understand that. You had stated your property is much higher, Steve, than all of them, so all the water's running down through their yard and coming in, I understand your situation. The concern I had with you, when you were saying it's not a structure, you cannot put a structure on top of wetland, which this is becoming because of water runoff. That's why I'm stating to you, I think there's gonna be some special things in the permit for elevation of your foundation. Because you can see on this matter, now this is your property with your home on it, correct? Let me just finish. Am I correct on this? That's your property.
That was a couple of
I
years
don't care about those. I'm talking about this one.
It was a few years ago.
Okay, well, it still has an issue with water, which they're working on with the town. I'm a builder, and I'm telling you right now, I would never put a structure on 18 inches of water, because we're not gonna take care of your property, we're gonna take care of the street. So all that water is gonna run through your property, and if he does not do a sufficient footing, your whole array will settle. That's the concern I have, and I wanna go to your property and look at it. So, that's all I wanna say on that.
No, that's a valid concern, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
structural concern.
That's what I'm
You're
getting
right.
at.
Yes, sir, last comment.
Yep, thank you.
My name is Tom DeBona. I live on 2430 Elm Street with
Yep.
the north of Butter.
Okay,
Okay, I wanted to just share our concern with what we see from our property, from our living area.
Yep.
And our, we're putting in a new deck and what we'll see from there. I've taken some pictures of the view from the north side, and we're looking right down into their property. And I'd like you to see, you know, what we'll be exposed to. And
This
also-
is their backyard or front yard?
That's their backyard.
So,
That's that house you showed in
yeah,
that picture there?
yes. That's the other side of the
Wow, everyone has more pictures of my house than me.
Well, he lives
That's
uphill.
pretty
But if,
impressive.
he- if this continues to stay in the front yard, there wouldn't be a view for you at all.
As long, well, I don't even know where it's gonna be on the property,
Well,
because we haven't seen the
right
layout
here.
here.
I don't know why I put a state-of-the-art security system in that house.
I know where you're
Goes
going.
the front, you're back here up on the hill. Yeah, existing house, so you're seeing here, you would realistically put the arborvitae's that he's talking about, I feel that you wouldn't see it. But again,
I guess we're just too busy to
those are the
care.
areas that he's talking about.
4 kids.
But I was
Four
looking at
little
all the
kids, yeah, I guess
topography
you
of
just
this
have no
property.
time to think about
No,
anything
I
else
think
except.
it comes back to old American decency, right?
Well, I got a big chunk of ledge out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
These
yes,
people are just indecent.
right there, yeah, that was the log cabin.
Yeah, so I don't know, will I see that? I don't know.
You can see it.
Tom has pipes draining water into our land, which could have caused a lot of this. The log cabin has pipes draining water.
It sounds like that problem's gonna be.
we're not gonna go with the water anymore.
So,
But
my
that's-
main concern on this, as I stated earlier, I'm in favor of solar. My main concern is what the abutters are gonna see, so we're gonna, whatever we do, if we decide to approve it, we're gonna listen to them, see if we can find a solution as to how to deal with that, whether it's huge arborvitae's that need to be planted there, it's an evergreen, it'll be green all year around. But we have to look at the property and just take a look and see what's best for this.
Do you people want these pictures submitted as evidence to the file?
May I see that picture? I just wanna make sure my
Sure.
wife's not in the window changing.
I looked at it.
That's my house over there. So the piano, he won't even be able to see the
Right, cause
piano.
that's the back of our house looking at.
All right, somebody make a motion to continue this to the
I'll make a
June
motion to
21st.
continue.
What?
On June
No, we
1st.
wouldn't approve.
We're not gonna close the public hearing,
No,
right?
just make a
Make a
motion to continue this
Yes,
hearing
yes,
to
yes.
June 1st. Somebody second it?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
These are here.
Aye, okay. June 1st, 6:30, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Sorry neighbors, I guess you got a really bad neighbor, huh? Oh.
That ain't gonna help you, kid.
Can I have these pictures, please?
Taking my chances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, he's more healthy.
I don't know, No, it's an odd place to put it, you know.
The Gray family, how are you?
Doing well.
But
You enjoy the show?
there's only
Yeah, it was
two.
great. Very informative.
Good. Come on up, please.
Informative is a good way to put it.
Hey, can we have this discussion? Can we have it out there, so we can have a case?
All right, thank you, guys.
The reason why we're coming, Bob Gray, 1865 Wellington Street.
Hey, guys, can you take it outside, please? Thank you.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to interrupt, I just wanted to hear it.
I'm sorry, is it public input? Is that what we're
Yeah.
on to? And your name, I missed that.
Bob Gray, 1865 Wellington Street. Subject property 402 and 410 Spring Street. The old post office
Yeah.
site. We're here just as an exploratory, trying to get the information to seek your decision on a timing for reconstruction. It's our intent to put up another building on the site,
Yeah.
smaller than what was there originally. And we understand that there was a time limit, and we'd like to just explore what procedures are necessary to seek an extension of time
Right,
to have the board consider this.
right. So what happens is do you know what you wanna do?
We have a
Vague
general
idea.
idea, but we do not have firm construction plans nor sizing, and that's why we actually want to seek everyone's input.
Right, so you're probably a little premature coming to this board. The first stop is right here with this guy. And he'll direct you every step of the way. This,
I don't mean to interrupt, but
yeah, come on up.
I'm Jane Gray,
Yeah,
1865 Wellington
I know you guys
Street.
some scouts.
Okay, so we didn't realize, there was time constraints, and the reason we didn't, build something right away was because I fell down the stairs a month after, broke my back, had to have part of my kidney removed, had my chest opened up, so I've had medical issues,
Yeah,
and, he's been taking care of me, so
right.
I think we need to ask for permission and extension of there was like a 1 year.
Oh, you already did something.
We had to take the building
Yeah, so there was
down.
just as
So
a
it's the year
precursor
from
to
the
that.
building being torn
So
down.
the post
Okay.
office building was
Now I
deemed
understand.
unsafe, and it was
Right.
necessary to take it down.
It
Okay,
was mandated
So we're looking
for us
at
to
a
take it
time
down.
extension limit.
so you've already have been, no, you haven't
So
been to this.
we were
Well, why don't we hear
mandated
from
to take
Jim?
it
Jim,
down.
can you light us on
I
this?
understand.
Yeah, so what happens, our bylaw has a reconstruction clause in it of 12 months
Right,
when a building is demolished.
yeah.
So I take it that, and I'm sorry to hear about your health, I take it that 1 year is almost up. Or it is
It's
up.
well past 1
Okay,
year.
all right.
Yeah.
The problem is that property is not conforming. The Grays have always said that they intend to rebuild there.
Yep.
And being a historic site, I don't see an issue with that. The problem was the building was leaning towards the road.
Right.
We had to act.
Yeah.
So, I think it would behoove the board,
Yeah.
whatever they decide to come back with, we can hear the case.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect venue for a variance. But I'm not sure if this board can act on giving you extension when the 12 months has already lapsed. So, I think more appropriately, you should just come back to the board for a variance hearing, and you don't need a full set of drawings for that. All you
No.
need is a footprint of what
Right.
you wanna do.
Well, we do have that already.
The existing, or part of the existing foundation of the building was actually saved
Right.
during the construction. And
Right.
Jim took a look at the footings and made sure that,
Right.
that the footings were there.
Yeah, we've got full plans, and we're prepared to discuss this at the appropriate time.
Right.
Because
We-
the site's
we
not been
actually-
completely delineated, and
Right.
Well,
and
so,
it really comes down to, proper use and a rebuild of the non-conforming lot
Right.
to today's standards,
Right.
essentially.
Right.
But this is the,
we
this
hired
is
an
the,
architect to
yeah,
plan
this is
the
a
building when
profile,
we were
so.
trying to save it.
Right,
So we have a full set of what the building existed already.
right.
And we don't really wanna put more thousands of dollars into it if you won't let us rebuild
No,
anything.
what's gonna happen is you need to apply for a
That's the
variance.
existing.
Oh, the existing.
yeah.
You need to apply for a variance. It's as simple as that. and Roz can walk you through that.
Okay.
And, it's gonna cost you, so, forget about the past, that's gone. You'll have to notify the abutters, what you pay for, you have to put it in the paper what you pay for, and then we have a fee of, what's the total, Roz?
$750.
$750, and that is to, the fee for $750 is to have the attorney write the decision.
Mhm.
So all in all, it cost, close to $900 to have it done.
It's gonna be more than that, wouldn't
It all depends on how many
How many
abutters.
abutters?
Right.
What about,
The
abutters?
newspaper's $200-some.
You know, there's some abutters.
Is it that much now?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, that's something that
They're
we'll have
notified
to.
as
They're
well.
still notified, but I know that lot's funny. 'cause
Now, the
it's
only, this is a perfect case for variance, and I'll certainly, as you see me speak tonight, I'll speak on your behalf. I had to take the building down, or jointly
Right.
we took it down. But you have to be certain that when you come in, you ask for exactly what you're going to build. Because this board will be bound, and I will be bound to their decision as to what you're allowed to build in.
Mhm.
So I noticed that plan, I think, is the existing building, that was the.
This is
Right.
the
So
existing
if your
footprint.
intent isn't to do that,
Right,
you
this
wanna,
is
you wanna modify.
This is a precursor to
Right.
the intent
Right.
of a new drawing, but
Is
this
this
sets
gonna
the
be
stage
commercial or
for,
residential?
this is
Commercial,
it's
right?
commercial,
Yeah.
It's a commercial building you wanna build.
Right.
yeah,
Which
and
is-
and it's own commercial.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
I don't have a
so,
problem.
the deed date goes back to 1755,
I know,
I
it
think, on
used to
this
be a
one.
hospital years ago.
I think it was a lot of things.
It was a hospital. My father was born at Mount Hope Hospital.
Wow.
So this footprint is either gonna be the same size or less, it can't be any more. 'cause it's
Right,
gonna be from
right,
the
exactly, so that's a
Yeah.
good point, Mr. Pacheco, so if you wanna make it smaller, I can grant you that building permit. It's if you make it larger or change it,
Yeah, geometrically, there may be some advantage to having a slightly altered footprint, but I think the net footprint itself will be smaller.
right,
And I'm going under that premise, and I'm
Okay.
assuming that we'll
Okay.
have some grounds
Okay.
to.
I think
So-
it was like 3,900 square feet or something like
Yeah,
that
well,
was
yeah,
originally.
it's easily calculatable off this thing, but we can certainly, develop those plans to, go to the next stage to look at, the actual site plan and all the aspects that go into
Right.
that.
okay.
I just wanted to make sure we're taking the appropriate steps
Right.
in the right order, so we don't spin our wheels for a year or two.
I
We'd
understand.
rather be, just try to
Can it
understand.
be
the-
two floors?
Oh, sure it can,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
sure it can.
Yeah, and the plans do, at this point,
Right.
that we would be thinking of,
Right.
commercial space.
I don't think that you've missed an opportunity, because the section of the bylaw that you're referencing with the 12 months, I'm not sure that this board can arbitrarily grant you any permissions from that, because you have no definitive plan the building is gone. So you would have to come in with something to show them,
Mhm.
because
Right.
then you need something substantial for
Right,
voting.
and you would get a 2-year, you'd have 2 years to act on the
Well, once a
variance
year.
that we gave you. And if you didn't, then you'd have to come back to the board and get an extension,
Sure.
which wouldn't be an issue. And it
Right.
wouldn't cost you anything at that point.
Sure, and we would envision that once we have, more definitive plans, will be, a review process to discuss
Right.
the merits, advantages, and disadvantages.
Right.
So I would, you need a new set of plans
Mhm.
before I would come here, because once the clock starts ticking, we have 100 days total. But we would have to ask you to sign an extension, because if you applied in May, if you applied for June, and we heard you in July, we would have to sign it by August. So we would want to get an extension from you, especially if we didn't have enough time to get it to our attorney. So we'd ask you to get the plans and everything all in order before you come
Sure.
and fill out the application.
But there is the thought process is that, it's a collaboration of sorts. And, we could say that maybe there's an intended small restaurant use, first
Right.
floor, a studio apartment up above, some type of situation like that.
Well, if you wanted to do anything outside of the scope that's allowed in a commercial zone, then you would have to ask that of this board as well.
Right.
Mhm.
So I would definitely think lineally and include everything you think might be possible, so the board can act appropriately.
Okay?
Okay?
And as far as the, if there was concepts, my only fear is that I could develop a very detailed plan. But is it more important to kind of decide on, the footprint aspects of it prior to the full development? Because what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know?
Yes.
The only if the abutters are notified and they come to the meeting and you don't have an elevation view, they're gonna be less skeptical to support it. So you may wanna have something, even if it's conceptual, the curb appeal will look like. I don't know if the board will have an issue with not seeing that, but I know some abutters do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of no different than what we did with,
Exactly, yes.
uh,
Up on Winthrop Street? No.
It doesn't sound like it.
no, I'm thinking with,
Being commercial?
Can I ask me?
Huh?
I can't remember.
the guys who wanted to put a subway into.
Oh, yes,
Right next
the
door.
Gooding House, yeah. The
Uh,
Gooding House we talked, yeah.
Oh, okay, at the
Right.
And
corner.
the usages,
On the
like
corner.
you stated, must be put into the plan.
Right.
Yes,
Proposed usages.
yes, especially if you wanna do a mixed use, because
Yeah.
I don't think that's in an overlay district. We have a couple of overlay districts in town, I'm not sure if that's one.
Right. I'd have to look.
Yeah, but it is within
But
the
that-
empowerment of this board to grant that.
A
if they-
possibility.
Right,
Right.
Certainly something to be considered. right?
Absolutely.
right.
So if we could engage someone to do some architectural drawings of
Right.
some of
I
this.
don't, you wouldn't need full, I think just.
Yeah, just
no,
the-
we
Just the
should
concept.
determine-
Just a
We'll
concept
only
showing,
It'll only go 25 feet high anyway, right?
35.
Yeah.
35, 35, yeah. Because it came up with Winthrop Street, where the neighbors wanted to see what it was gonna look like.
Look like it, right,
So, yeah,
right.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is a historic site, we'd rather it be aesthetically pleasing
Right,
as well.
absolutely.
You know? Okay, so that gives us a good foundation to
To
start
start
with.
with.
And having a couple concepts is certainly a possibility
Right.
too.
You don't have a lot of butters around there.
Stone
Well,
Industries is the
right,
one
so,
behind,
yeah,
and then
the bank,
Coast Bank.
The bank,
Paradite,
I doubt the bank
and
will show.
then the, whatever the
I
distance
doubt Dayton
is.
Industries will show.
It's all
So it's
base.
300 feet from
It's
any
view.
one corner,
Right.
any
Yeah.
distance
Right.
around the
Right.
entire.
So there'll be some people from Taunton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your
Dayton
experience, has Dayton Industries weighed in on many of these type of details?
We haven't had anything with Dayton Industries.
Because they are the immediate abutter.
Abutter.
They're the only abutter. that
You wouldn't have what you saw here this evening. These were passionate people because they were angry about this gentleman's land to begin with.
We'll be sure to turn off our spotlights.
Yeah.
No water, no watermark.
As long as they're LED spotlights, John.
Right.
The only thing you'll
You
hear
don't
from
wanna
Dayton
live
Industries
downhill.
is, want to buy your property, they haven't approached you?
We've actually approached
I'm
them in the
surprised.
past. We've approached them in the past, and we made them known our intentions, and there was no response.
What about parking?
Well, Tom Ferry has said, there's ample,
street-
that street is
parking-
really wide,
it
and
is.
and it's got a significant number of parking spaces, we believe, that could be allocated along the front. And
Yep.
obviously, there is a issue, because the property itself is relatively small.
Right.
So to answer that, you would need a waiver from the planning board, because our parking regulations
Requirements,
do say
yeah.
specifically that you need off-street parking, so.
I think,
You know,
continue.
but because of the nature of the lot, and there is certainly hardship associated with it, I don't suspect that the planning board wouldn't be receptive. Certainly if it was Elm Street, they would be, but not
Right.
that street.
Yeah.
And unless you can get something in writing
Nothing
from
on
Dayton
the street.
Industries saying,
Yeah,
you could use theirs, which I don't think you will get anything from them.
Right. It's interesting, though, that the parking lot was paved and it extends onto their property.
Right, yeah.
Which is just a very
Well,
strange
Dayton
aspect.
Industries used to own all of that
Do
at
you
one
need
time.
site plans
Right.
or just building plans?
No, just an elevation, you wanna
Just-
be able
Do
to
you
see
need
what the.
Where it's gonna be, where it's generally gonna go right exactly? There's
Yeah,
not
the
many
footprint's gonna be
choices.
the same, so just a site plan.
Just a building plan.
uh,
layout plan.
Of what it's gonna look like,
Okay,
really. And really, this board doesn't, aesthetically,
I didn't like the Elms.
there's nothing we can do. Because
Well,
you have
we
the right
thought-
to,
we thought we needed a variance or something in order to be able to start it.
right. I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
Well,
We
yeah,
thought we needed like to ask permission to, because of the 12-month.
well,
Okay.
all the
Alright.
planning aspects need to be
I can-
reviewed and approved.
right.
Okay, okay.
The, I just wanna be clear on something. You need a site plan to submit to this board, because that's what I will be able to grant you a building permit.
Motion.
That will be based off
Right.
of this plus the
Right.
new
The
geometry.
elevation isn't required, but I'm telling you, if a butters come, it would behoove you to show them a elevation of what the building may look like, which may quell any concerns that they have.
Right.
You could take the chance and not bring an elevation, because we don't have any restrictions in town on what buildings need to look like.
So why, so we're all set then?
Yeah, it was great to understand, and we'll, if we have some additional questions, we'll pass
We
it
don't
on.
normally meet in August, so keep that in mind when you.
Well, yeah, I kinda figured that the meeting in July and August, but we do have a meeting in July?
We have a meeting in July, June and July, we don't have a meeting normally in
But the-
August unless we have.
But the timing, once I present something, there was a couple month period, Mr. Karen referenced, that was how many days? 100 days from initial
Oh,
proposal
when
to
you
you,
apply,
to you?
when you apply for the,
Okay.
petition. Okay, the chairman's gonna go, so I'm gonna take over, the rest of the meeting, so you guys are all set then?
Thank you very much.
Is
Appreciate
there
it.
any other, input? I did mention, to Peter that it's been 2 years since we,
Excuse me, sorry,
that's all right. Since we reorganized this, committee, we're supposed to do it annually. Chapter 40A, Section 12 says we're supposed to have a reorganization every year, so I'm making a motion that we reorganize this committee at the next meeting in June. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Table stop. Hey,
I'm gonna take a recess.
He's out of no.